Manchester United 5, Leicester City 2. We're here for the review. Ruud van Nistelrooy's first game in charge. All of a sudden, United are ruthless. We can't stop scoring goals. An absolute turnaround from Ten Hag's tenure. I'm joined by Scotty and Tom as well. Scotty, I'll start with you. Just initially, what were your thoughts on that game? What did we see from those players? What was that performance like in contrast to what we've seen in recent weeks?
I suppose the biggest contrast will be how clinical we were in front of goal.
Yeah.
I mean, Casemiro's first one was an absolute peach. I mean, you made reference to it being like Nani back in the day. And a lot of it was like that. We were sort of carving them up the low down the side, and the Garnacho goal. We got a bit fortunate in games where you could look back at Ten Hag's time and say the rub of the green didn't fall his way, but it certainly did tonight. We've seen Casemiro do a 1-2 with the post. We've seen Delo doing 1-2 with the opposition, and that sort of thing wasn't going our way under Ten Hag. But the narrative will obviously be the players have turned up under Van Nistelrooy where they haven't under Ten Hag. But it's a Carabao Cup game. I don't think Leicester were particularly good. They weren't awful within the first sort of 40 minutes, but United were just far better in front of goal, and that's something that's been seriously lacking. Now, whether they found the shooting boots because of new manager or whatever reason, but it just feels, from a United fan's point of view, and me personally, not even relief, I've thoroughly enjoyed tonight, and I can't say that I've done that too much this season.
Yeah, what did you make of it, Tom, just in terms of in isolation, that performance tonight? We'll get into the wider context.
Well, that's it, isn't it? You have to look at it in isolation.
Yeah.
I think probably just needed after the last few weeks. It's never been as bad as it's looked. Yeah. And it's just a reminder that they are good players, probably lacking a bit of confidence, as you say. You know, when that first goal went in, it was just clinical, really. Yeah. Something that it's funny to think, isn't it, that if perhaps they'd shown that in the past few weeks, Ten Hag might still be in a job. Not that he should be, but anyway.
Yeah. It's a weird one, isn't it? And it's amazing how often you see this. Players who looked completely devoid of confidence, looked like they couldn't finish, couldn't put the ball in from anywhere, would have these crazy chances upon chances upon chances and barely score anything. I think there was a point today where we'd had like 3 shots on target and we were 3-0 up. It was just like bizarre. Like the sort of conversion rate was absurd. United had 23 shots today, 9 on target, 5 goals, an XG of just under 3, which is obviously very good. But again, sort of outperforming that when all season we've made chances and not scored them. Today was kind of the opposite, especially that first goal. If we go back to that Casemiro strike, just phenomenal goal to set the tone for the game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of need that sometimes, especially. I think I was a bit worried at the start of the game that it was going to be a bit flat because obviously it's one game under Ruud. We don't know who's coming in, if they will be, if Amorim will be here at the weekend. But yeah, I was just a bit worried that it was going to be one of those games because Leicester started to come into it. They were having chances, and even though it's a free hit in a way, in some ways, players that have suffered a lot over the past few weeks. So you get that goal and sometimes you just need a bit of confidence. You need something to go for you. Like you say, the 1-2s that coming off the post, winning the ball back where it looked unlikely. Whereas in previous weeks, whether it's been referee decisions or just little bits of play, it just seems like everything's been against us. So sometimes it just works like that.
Yeah. In terms of performances then, I want to go through the squad a little bit and I want to get to the manager situation a bit more and what this sort of result means for United and looking ahead to Chelsea a bit because we're kind of in a new phase of momentum now, aren't we? But sticking with the goal scorers, Casemiro tonight I thought played very well. Him and Ugarte, who I'll get to in a minute because I thought was brilliant. But Casemiro, is he someone that you think is going to be looking at, I don't know how long his United future will be, but he's certainly here this season. Do you think he's kind of staking a claim to be a starting player in that starting 11 again, or do you think we're kind of seeing, he's good in the cup, but maybe hasn't got the legs for the rest of it?
I mean, I don't think we should judge it based on just the Leicester performance, but that sort of partnership, I know you're going to talk about Ugarte in a minute, but that seemed to work phenomenally well, like a South American partnership in the midfield. There was very little fault in the game, and I think you mentioned during the watch-along that the Casemiro is either world class or is pub league, isn't it? They weren't your words, I'm just paraphrasing. Well, he's either switched on or switched off. But tonight he had a great game, and it sort of summed up with the 2 goals that he had. So his ability's there, but the engine and the legs of Casemiro are always going to be the question. So I'm not saying that he could be someone that we could rely on long term, but he's definitely staked the claim for the thoughts of a new manager.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just looking at some of the stats, I want to talk about Ugarte because I thought he was brilliant today. Maybe United's best player, even though Bruno got 2, Casemiro got 2. Ugarte with 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, 9 ball recoveries, which is more than anyone else on the pitch, and he had more tackles than any other United player as well. I thought that was his best game for United so far. Do you agree?
The ball was just like a magnet to him, wasn't it? Especially, I think it's in the second half as well, where we needed to just dig in and keep it. Not that we were under immense pressure, but just make sure that the game didn't get any closer. His winning the ball back was incredible. I mentioned in the during it that I'm a bit surprised that he's been used as little as he has been, considering this player that's come in, which supposedly the answer to what we're missing in midfield. But it's exciting to think there's a player there, one that, if the new manager is who we think it's going to be, is someone he's utilised to great effect in the past. So that's a positive.
Yeah, absolutely. Connor Cale in the comments. Get your thoughts in. Get in the chat. He says, "No, I'm not impressed. Wow, you idiots scored 5 goals. Suddenly decide to start playing. I'm sure some will be happy, but I'm pissed at the players." Is there part of you, Scotty, that thinks? I know obviously you got to the point where you thought Ten Hag wasn't the right guy, but why all of a sudden can they put the ball in the back of the net when they've struggled so much all season to do that?
Well, that's not always the true case, though, is it? I mean, we beat Barnsley in this competition and put 7, so we were clinical in that game. But there are going to be people out there that are saying players threw Ten Hag under the bus, or they've let him down or whatever. But I've always believed that the manager's job is to get the best out of the players. And if you can't do that, for whatever reason, whether they don't like you, if it's a personality thing, if it's tactics, then that's down to you. And that's it. The best managers know how to get the best out of the players regardless of the personalities. They're not robots. You need to treat them individually. And unfortunately, Ten Hag hasn't been able to do that.
And we shouldn't forget the quality of the opposition as well.
Of course.
But Leicester are a step or two above Barnsley, though.
They are, but it's not. Sometimes it's for a team like Barnsley. You know you're going to get the best version of Barnsley.
Yeah.
Whatever they're up to domestically. Whereas with sometimes the teams like Leicester, they're up against it just to stay in the division, and so sometimes these early rounds of the cup, it looked to me like they weren't massively. I know players are always bothered when they step over the line, but I don't think Leicester will be too disappointed tonight, and we shouldn't overreact. I don't think anyone's going to overreact. We're not going to overreact, but I certainly don't look at that thinking, oh, there's all the goals that we've been missing. Where's this performance been? Because that first game in charge, if that game tonight was a Premier League game, I think it would have been a very different evening. Not that it would have gone badly, but it just would have felt and looked very different.
Well, you mentioned there about the quality of the opposition. Here's a stat for you. United never scored 5 goals or more against a Premier League opposition under Ten Hag. In this whole time here, we never scored 5 goals against Premier League opposition. That's mad, isn't it? I know that you don't score 5 every week, but he was here for 2 years and 3 months. It's surprising that never happened.
Is it surprising? I mean, when you look at how we ended our sort of goal difference last year, I mean, maybe when Rashford was doing well, in the first season, might have expected to get higher goals, but not really. The football was turgid. It was.
It's weird, isn't it? It's just I don't know. The more you watch football, the more you just think no one really knows when we got Ten Hag in, I couldn't see a reason why it wouldn't work, and not to say we'd win the league under him or whatever, but it just felt like he's clearly a good manager. He's getting the best out of this Ajax side. He's the most up-and-coming manager in Europe. I know he's older than some, but he hadn't been a head coach at the top level for very long. He was kind of new to that world, and yet it never quite got there. We had that really good first season, but after that it was so poor. I just feel like it's weird that just momentum and confidence and immediately. And again, this wasn't a world-class performance, but scoring a lot of goals against Premier League opposition, it can just happen overnight. Like I can't really explain it.
It's not as even if it was sustained as well. It was just bam, first half. It's like, where's it been?
Yeah, just all of a sudden the shackles are off and they're smashing them in. Someone in the comments, that's their name, I'm not just forgetting who you are, says the effect of not having your place assured on the players is always interesting to watch. Magically they discovered lungs and legs. Do you think there was an element of that tonight? They're playing for their place under the new manager. This is sort of obviously I'm sure Ruben Amorim has thoughts on what Casemiro is like as a player because he's been around for so long, but certain players in that squad, particularly the likes of maybe Ugarte or Xerxes or Casemiro, as we mentioned, where they were thinking, if I put in a shift tonight, this could be the start of my United career or the rebirth of my United career.
I didn't see it like that. I mean, Ronaldo mentioned that it seemed a bit more of a sort of spirited performance. They felt a little bit lighter on the feet, and there were elements of that. But I'm not too sure how many players at this stage are playing for their future at the club or their position. Obviously, the new manager will have an idea about what he wants to do, but for me, I just think that they've been underperforming, and the new manager will have to take them on what he sees in the training field rather than what they've produced under Ten Hag. Because if they're producing what they can do, then Ten Hag would still be in a job. Yeah. We all know that them players are better than what they're capable of. So it's up to the manager to decide whether they're going to fit the sort of system that he wants to play at Manchester United.
Looking at the rest of the draw, then Tottenham currently 2-1 up against City. They're in the 90th minute there in that game. Obviously, I guess we would all hope that City go out. Liverpool are through. Arsenal are through. Newcastle beat Chelsea, did they? Yeah, Newcastle beat Chelsea, so Chelsea are out. Into the quarterfinal. The draw is in about 10, 15, 20 minutes. We'll probably just miss that here on the review. But is there anyone in particular that you fancy for the next round? There's also...
Did Villa go out as well?
Yeah, Villa went out as well to Palace. Brighton went out to Liverpool. This Brentford's still in the draw. Southampton's still in the draw as well. Arsenal went through.
You want Southampton or Newcastle, wouldn't you? Either end of the country. Yeah. They're the easiest ties.
Yeah, they're the easy ones, aren't they? I mean, I'd take Palace, to be fair. But yeah, are you looking at this as a big chance for silverware this season, or are you not even thinking about it? Just find our feet under a new manager, or are you thinking?
I'm bored of the Carabao Cup, mate. I'll be honest. Yeah,
I love it.
I've had my fill of energy drinks. I'm on to Europa League is what I want.
Is that the one?
I think we've not performed well in it, but we've still got a chance of getting through it, and I think that we could win that.
I think it's good that it's there for the new manager. Yeah. I know you say a bit bored. Like if you look at the Carabao Cup, I mean, it wasn't as if it was an exciting cup win.
No,
we kind of even in both cup wins, as great as the final against Man City was. Obviously, we had that last minute winner against Liverpool. There's always moments, but we've not. I think if Amorim comes in and gets us playing, then we'll just start to feel very differently about every time we watch them play. Yeah. I think we've just forgotten that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think we've got the squad though to try to maybe go on forefront. So obviously, we're not going to be trying for the league, but we're pushing for top 4.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Personally, I'd go for Europa. But I mean, if we're going to go to Wembley and win the Carabao Cup, of course, I love that.
Yeah. Julia Farino said the performance wasn't any different. Luck was on our side. No VAR and Leicester were poor. A few goals, of course. The players feel better. I do tend to agree with most of that. I don't think it was a radically different performance, but it just had that extra 5% of freedom or a sort of I don't know, just that thing
did it
undefinable
gain anything, or was it
thing.
just lost a bit of the toxicity?
Yeah, I think it must be that. The pressure and the sort of stress that the players seemed to be under. It seemed a bit more of, you said it, a bit more of a lightness.
It felt like Casemiro's goal just felt like the pressure had been completely turned down.
Yeah.
And then from that moment onwards, yes, we did get a little bit of a rub at the green and look with some of the decisions. But it just felt a little bit more like the players were enjoying themselves, and then that breeds again into the fans and stuff, and we've needed it. You know, and fingers crossed, and wish Ten Hag the best wherever he goes. But it's a new dawn for Manchester United. Tonight we could have got beat, we could have dropped points, could have got knocked out, and I think Chelsea might have been a bit more of a difficult game. And now I'm feeling a bit more positive, where I wouldn't have been before.
Yeah,
I think too often we've made that game really unnecessarily difficult.
Yeah. That's true. That is definitely true. Ashley Langridge with a super chat says, who else loves Ruud? Hope he can stay. Yeah, I mean, we all love him, I think. I wonder if he will stay. Obviously, I don't think anyone's sitting here thinking he's going to be the next manager. Would you try and keep him on as an assistant, as a coach? Not necessarily from what he's done tonight perspective, but just having someone on the inside of Amorim's coaching staff that knows Man United, that knows the pressures that come with it, kind of knows the media game, what it's like to play in England. Do you think that would be helpful for him?
I don't know. He's not been the coach there for that long, though. I know he played in the Premier League,
that's what I'm thinking
Premier
more
League
so.
and stuff.
Yeah.
But me personally, as much as I do like to get romantic about Manchester United's past, I just think that we need to sort of draw a line under it. And we've had ex-players there in and about the coaching squad. But I think the new guy should come in and have what he wants there, rather than it sort of be forced upon him that you're having this ex-Man United player there to bed you in. But I think Ineos will probably have their own ideas about who's going to work alongside.
That's true. It goes both ways, that though, doesn't it? Because on the one hand, I agree with you. Like, bring your team in. The thing that was successful before, bring that to us and be successful here. But then, do you remember under Moyes when they got rid of everyone and, you know, got rid of Meulenstein and all the backroom staff and all that, and he brought all his Jimmy Lumsden and all them lot in. And then afterwards, when he'd gone and that didn't work, people were going, it was ridiculous of him to get rid of all the coaches. You needed some continuity with the old. Like, maybe that's different because you were trying to carry on previous success, whereas now you're trying to forget previous failures. But it's just one of those things, as with anything in football, if he comes in and it works, of course he had to get rid of all those staff. If he comes in and it fails, why didn't he keep someone who knew the club? It just depends, doesn't it? If you win, it doesn't matter what you did, what you said, that's all that matters. Would you keep Ruud van Nistelrooy or someone who kind of knows the setup and knows the Premier League a bit more?
Well, I think he's got 3 coaches, hasn't he, that work closely with him. I think 2 of them came to a meeting and he said his other guy's massively important as well. I mean, it depends if there's a job there. I like to think that managers, especially coming into a club like United, you don't want to leave yourself. You want allies that. It's such an overused phrase, isn't it? That know the club. Yeah. And I don't know if there's room there to make that work. Yeah. You'd be stupid not to, in a way. But I don't. Obviously, it's not about shoehorning people into positions to get ex-players in that we like. It's if there's no job there for Ruud van Nistelrooy, then I'm sure he'll want to. He's not going to want to downgrade too much into a role just so he can be there. He came to be an assistant coach, and if that role's not there, then.
Yeah, that's a good point. Mark Hayden says Ruud is interimming up the effing Reds. Interimming is a word I've never heard before. Are you interimming? Actually, we'll move on from that. Burnside is back. Says Ajax.
Wow! Oh, you asked me some shit on there.
Sorry about that. As it was coming out, I realised what I was saying. Ajax are a system club, according to Burnside is back. Managers can deliver titles without being world class. Ten Hag might do a better job at another club, not on our level. A cloud of oppression has been lifted. I think that's a good place to leave it, personally. It's been a lovely night. United scoring loads of goals, winning the game, looking pretty comfortable from about the 25th minute, 35th minute. That's more like it, isn't it?
It certainly is, man. It feels a very good day to be a Manchester United fan, and I've not had many of them of late.
I know. We'll take it that, won't we? Yeah. Not bad, is it?
On to the weekend.
Yeah. Well, don't say that. Oh, I thought you said we're lost at the weekend. No, on to the weekend. Yeah, we've got a good chance. I've got a good feeling about it. You'll be here at the weekend, waiting for the watch along as well. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming on again, Tom. It was really good to have you. Thank you as well, Scotty, of course. Thank you for watching at home. Man, finally winning again, scoring goals again. That's more like it. Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be back later on with Stephen Howson's review as well, so stick around for that. Manchester United 5, Leicester 2, through to the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. We'll see you in a bit.